the biggest trend that is affecting Minnesota and the United States, and in fact actually much of the world, is that we're aging, we're growing older, and that's going to continue throughout the rest of our lives and well beyond. We have now entered a period of our national existence where we are no longer a young, highly mobile, risk-taking society. We've really changed in some very fundamental ways and very dramatic ways. And this process is going to continue sharply. It's going to affect our economy. It's going to affect where people live and how they live and the kinds of families they live in. It's going to affect when they commute or whether they commute and many aspects of our societies. And as it turns out, most of that increase in 65 and older population isn't going to happen in the rural areas. It's going to happen in the suburban areas and exurban areas that are perhaps least well prepared for this big explosion in an older population. We're going through a period now, this aging process, that has never happened before anywhere in the world. And it's happening over much of the world, and it's going to tremendously transform our society and our economy, and almost everything that we do, every aspect of our lives will be transformed by this. And it's not just about the baby boom generation. It's everybody's involved in this. And whenever there's great change like that and these dramatic shifts, coupled with the Great Recession and its fallout over a long period of time, whenever we see big changes like this, we see a rise in the incidence rate of disruptors, of disruptive events and disruptive innovations. And there will be dramatic changes. We just need to be prepared for that. So what that means is that organizations need to, and bureaucracies, governments, corporations, all the above, need to make sure that they have a dual nature to their organization. They need to be focused, number one, on their current operational activities. They need to be lean, and they need to push on the productivity string as hard as they can, and they need to be the most efficient and effective organization that they can be. But they also have to have a dual nature. And this dual nature is the exact opposite of that. This is the yin to the yang. This is exactly opposite. And that dual nature is a group within that is looking at the disruptors, looking at non-linear and non-evolutionary events, and ready to change the organization on a dime to move our organization in an exactly opposite direction, which of course the operational people hate. They hate this kind of thing, and the first thing they want to do is get rid of that kind of group because they don't see that it provides any useful activity, but it's going to be that group, that small group, that's going to save the organization. And the big question is how are we going to deal with the economic reality of an aging society, with a ever larger dependent society? And here's one of the sort of basic rules of economics, one of the very basic, one of the most sort of first principle of economics, is that there's really only two ways to grow an economy. You either increase the number of people making stuff, or you increase the amount of stuff each person makes. One has to do with the size of the workforce, which isn't going to grow much in the future, because we're aging, and we got a lot of people that are going to be retiring. Very few young people available to take their place. And the other is productivity. And productivity is going to become almost the single-minded focus of society in the next 10 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. At least out 25 years right now, the forecast is that government budgets will continue to face chronic shortages, chronic shortfalls, chronic deficits. There will be systematic and chronic cuts in services. That's going to continue into the future, and the challenge is going to be for any government organization is how can we cut 5% out of our budget this year and increase the outcomes of what we do by 5%. Not or, but and. So it's got to be both. And that's going to mean a very different way of thinking about government at the state and federal, state, and local levels. We're going to need to think very differently about how we do things. That transition is going to occur this decade, and perhaps even in the first half of the decade. And it's going to be a sharp transition, and there will be some societies that can adapt to that, and there will be some that don't. It's going to be a dramatic shift. And basically, all bets are off. And that will lead to the disruptors to increasing disruptive events, increasing disruptive innovations, and that's going to lead to a dramatically different world. Fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the ride.